Hey guys, welcome to a very special This Just In. And normally when we do one of these cases, we go to the parking lot near the office, but today we're on the trail. Why is that?
Well, this is way better than a parking lot, and we've got a very special truck. This is a Silverado ZR2.
So what makes this special, besides the fact that it is the most off-road worthy Chevy truck you can buy?
I'll give you a little hint. Check this out. Here on the bumper, we've got a little block heater, and that's something that you're gonna want.
Wait. You can get the 5.3, the 6.2. Does this have the diesel?
It's got the diesel, so go ahead and pop the hood and we'll check it out. This is the 3-liter Duramax, which, I don't know about you, Roman, but this is easily my favorite engine in any of these trucks.
Oh, dude, I love this engine. Not only is it diesel, which is, I think, perfect for towing, great for off-roading, gets
Fuel
incredible
economy.
range. I think we're looking at least 500 miles on a tank full.
Probably.
But good power. What's the power?
305 horsepower, so not as much as some of the V8s, especially the 6.2, but 495 pound-feet of torque, and you've got a 10-speed transmission behind it. Those are pretty impressive numbers.
Now, there is a downside to having a diesel, and that is that they're heavy. And on the trail, that could be an issue. We've taken heavy-duty trucks off-road with the big diesels in them, and they do feel a bit nose-heavy. Well, what else does this have that makes it the ultimate in Chevy off-roader trucks, at least?
Well, they do quite a bit. One area I think that's a little bit of a letdown is the tire size. This is a 33-inch Goodyear Wrangler Territory MT. The MT part of it's also interesting because this is just M&S rated. This is not a 3-peak snow rated tire, which will be interesting out here because obviously there's a lot of snow. I wish these tires were a little bigger though.
Yeah, but unlike the Tundra, my man, even the TRD Pro, look at this. You've got recovery points right there, and you have a nice steel skid bash plate in the front. How about the suspension?
Well, we've got DSSV, the Multimatic shocks, which are really impressive, especially at high speeds. If you take a big impact with these shocks, it's amazing the way that they soak them up. But a little old school, these trucks do have leaf springs in the rear.
Interesting. Now, as you know, we've owned the ZR2.
Yep.
And we also own the Trail Boss.
Yeah,
So-
and both of those were gassers.
Yeah. And this kind of lives in this, interesting place because I guess the Trail Boss would directly compete with the Tremor if it were a Ford, and the
Yeah.
Rebel if it were a Ram. And so this kind of maybe lives above that, but below the Raptor or the TRX. Is that kind of where you think it fits?
Yeah, it's interesting the way that this truck is positioned in the world of off-road trucks, of which there are tons of.
Nowadays,
But
yeah.
what's cool about this, though, and that we haven't talked about yet, is that you've got a selectable front and rear locker on this, which even the Raptor and the TRX don't have.
Yeah, and then the other thing I like about it is if you come over here, these are your different buttons for your 2 high, 4 low, 4 high, and I love the auto.
4-wheel drive auto is super nice to have. If you live in a snowy climate, some of the roads are plowed, some of the roads aren't. You can just leave it in that mode, not worry about it. And what do you think of this interior?
I don't love the seats. I think the bottom cushion's a little too short, but I do love kind of the spritz of color that they have in that stitching, and I do like the big screens. I think overall they did a really good job in the recent redesign.
Yeah, it's a 12.3-inch screen in front of you for the cockpit, and then your infotainment screen's a 13.4-inch screen, so they're nice, they're big, they're high resolution, good contrast. And overall, I think it's a well-designed vehicle.
Yeah, and it's also got pretty good numbers. So I'm looking over here at the payload, and it's 1,434 pounds, which is not bad. It's kind of standard for a full-size truck.
The towing on these ZR2s is up to around 8,900 pounds, which is on par with a Raptor or a TRX, but relative to other trucks in this class that you
Full-size
can
trucks,
get,
yeah. You can probably go all the way up to 13 or 14,000.
yeah, they're getting up there. 8,900 is not a ton relative to other Raptors.
But then again, Raptors are pretty much unobtainium. TRX, same thing. Raptor, all right, forget about it. And crazy expensive. How much is this guy?
It's about $74,000, which is still, it's a lot of money for a truck. But there's a lot of pros with this truck, that diesel and the lockers especially.
I would have said a few years ago, 74,000 is a lot. Today, that to me seems actually reasonable.
It's not that bad.
Let's jump in and drive it and see how it does on the trail. Hey, this is my favorite thing about this truck.
Listen to that. It's unbelievable how quiet this engine is. For being a diesel,
Yeah, I know. But you do get a little bit of clatter.
yeah, you can tell. You can tell it's not a gasser.
If it's me, you get a lot of clutter. But not a lot of clatter in the in the Silverado ZR2 Duramax, or is it Baby Duramax?
Yeah.
No, that's the old one. That's one that was in the Colorado. Remember, that was even smaller.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be doing any heavy duty off-roading. This is our first video. This just in, but we are going to be kind of giving you a slight taste of what it's like to off-road this thing. My initial impression is the view out the front is not good.
No. Here, I'll pull up my phone so you guys get a look of exactly what we're seeing. Yeah, it's pretty much impossible to look at whatever it is you're driving over. You've got to look quite a ways ahead of you and then bring yourself to remember what it was that you saw however long ago. All of a sudden now you're driving over it.
Yeah, we're following our long-term Ineos Grenadier, and that has much better sight lines. I don't understand why Jim put these giant humps in the hood.
Yeah, it looks cool from the outside and it does give it a macho feel from the inside, but when you're on a trail, which is supposed to be what this truck is for, it really does not help you see what you're driving over.
I gotta say, the good thing about it is super comfy. Long wheelbase, you know, relatively good suspension travel. It's not a bad truck to be in. As you can tell, I'm not doing a lot of head bobbing.
Yeah.
You're kind of just comfortably sitting next to me. You know, there's nothing worse than being in a vehicle where your head's like, right. A full day of that, you're pretty much miserable.
Oh yeah, and what's most impressive to me about this suspension and these DSSV spool valve shocks is when you get some speed going and you hit a big bump. Andre and I went on the program for this, and there were a couple times where we were doing some fast running and we kind of braced ourselves for a bump that we didn't see until it was too late, and this truck just glides over that kind of thing.
Yeah, and in terms of, you know, luxury and comfort, it's got about everything. So I've got you've got it, heated and cooled seats,
Yeah.
heated steering wheel,
Yeah.
heads-up display, you know, real buttons for HVAC, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, giant screens, a lot of great tactile information. Yeah, it's very luxurious. I think the only thing we're missing is probably like massaging seats. Sunroof?
Yeah, which massaging seats obviously you don't strictly need, and this truck doesn't just have
speak for
luxury
yourself,
features.
you know?
Wow.
Us old guys, you know, we like to have a deep massage when we're, you know, driving crowd. No, actually, I'm not.
Oh.
I'm not a big fan of massaging seats. Never understood like why people like, you know, just love them.
Yeah,
If
they're
you love
okay.
them, that's fine, but it's just not a thing for me. It's actually kind of weird. I just don't like my Steve doing weird stuff.
It's certainly not the highest priority for a truck. Things that you do want in a truck though: integrated trailer brake controller, really nice thing to have. This has really got everything that you would hope for a truck like this to be equipped with.
Yeah, and then some, you know. And then, of course, being a full-size truck, you have these nice grips here, which I like.
Yeah, grab
You
handles.
have, you know, tons of room in the back. And let's face it, Case, the full-size truck is becoming the truckster of American family life now. And people use these things not just to go off-road, but they use them to take kids to school, to go to work. And I think that this has that bandwidth, right? If you want to go off-roading with it, or
Yeah.
in this case, snow wheeling, right, which is actually a little treacherous because it's easy to get stuck, it can do it. If you want to tow with it, it'll do it to a
Yeah.
point.
Regardless of the use case that most people might be buying these trucks for, it's nice to see that this is equipped such that if you do want to use it to do some amount of work, yeah, it's not got the most towing that you could get in any half-ton. It's not the most off-road capable, maybe half-ton out there, but you do have trailer brake controller, you've got enough towing capability, you've got a decent amount of payload. And the thing that I really like about this truck, especially here in Colorado, because we have a lot of trees, is that it's narrower than the Raptor and the TRX, which helps you squeeze through some of those tighter trails more easily. And the selectable front and rear locker, you can't say enough for that.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, I was worried about the weight of that diesel engine, and it's maybe because it's a baby diesel, right? It doesn't feel as heavy as some heavy-duty trucks. When you're off-roading those, you definitely feel like you're crushing the earth and
Yeah.
not gliding over it. Well, guys, thank you for watching this first This Just In video. We'll have more great reviews of the Duramax ZR2 coming, and if you want to see those, where do they go?
alltfl.com.
And we'll see you guys next time. Ciao.